Hey, it's James. Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad that you are here. We are going to take a break on the series on the Gospel of Matthew, and let me tell you why. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I will be in Conway, Arkansas, and I will be auditing a class. I've already read the books, and now I've got to evaluate the class, and I'm not actually 100% certain what else I'm going to have to do, how much of the work I'm going to have to do, but I will definitely be in Conway, Arkansas. What I'm thinking is to just do the podcast and see if I can get some of the people that I'm sharing a bed and breakfast with to come on and we can talk about what we've learned. I'm going to try to do that. There's no guarantees, so if there is no podcast, that's why. And I promise what I'll do is I will make an announcement on Twitter. But here's the good news. D.A. Carson and some others I did not know that you could get this on Kindle, but the Expositor's Bible Commentary is one of the best commentaries out there. And I now have it on my Kindle. Well, at least I have the one on Matthew. As we move on through the Gospels, I will get the other ones. But it wasn't that pricey. I was very happy. I think it was like $11. But I will try to incorporate some more material from this. I'm looking over at my bookshelf. I've got the Gospel of Matthew at least from chapter 18 to chapter 28 up there. I need to find the first volume. God willing, I can find it. But between those two, and R.C. Sproul and some others, basically what I'm trying to communicate to you is that I am going to bring the absolute best material I can on the Gospel of Matthew. This isn't just me blowing smoke. This isn't me just yapping just to hear myself talk. I want to put good, solid, biblical information on the internet so people can learn and grow. Okay? Now, what am I going to talk about today? Well, it's something completely different than normal, and let me tell you why. You see, I've been very consistent about free speech. I've been very consistent about the fact that people can come on YouTube and they can say things that I don't agree with. I mean, that's what I don't like about this whole censorship thing. Okay? You know, if somebody gives their opinion about something and they're not an expert in that field, you take it with a grain of salt. You should be smart enough to understand that. I'm not claiming to be an expert in medicine. I'm claiming to be growing in expertise when it comes to the Bible, which is why one of my favorite authors, Dr. James R. White, he's against vaccines. He has the right to be against vaccines. But when it comes to knowledge and learning about the Bible, he's the one I turn to. Okay? When it comes to things like medicine, I listen to Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and I listen to people like Dr. Fauci. Now, I've had both shots. I've had the booster. So when I got COVID 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks, it's been so long I forgot already. I'm already past that 10-day period where I don't even have to wear a mask in public anymore. I believe part of that was the fact that I had the booster. Okay? Now, I just knocked something off. I don't know what I did. Oh well, I'll figure it out in a minute. Oh, the cover for this. Here's the deal. Joe Rogan has more people on that listen to his podcast than people that tune into CBS Evening News or ABC Evening News. This just blows my mind away. When Walter Cronkite was on CBS Evening News, it's like America tuned in. Of course, they didn't have that many choices as when it comes to channels. Now we've got hundreds of choices of channels. We can watch stuff on YouTube. We can listen to podcasts. And America has spoken. 11 million people every week listen to his podcast. I need to start listening to it. You know, I think he's a really smart guy, and I think he's got something positive to add, and he's willing to interview people that are different than he is, and that's what I like, and I can respect that. But now there is this effort to try to cancel him or try to get him pulled off of Spotify. When are people going to wake up? The moment you start censoring people because they have a different opinion than you do is the moment you start attacking the fabric of American culture. It's the moment you start taking away people's freedoms. Because if you can silence Joe Rogan because you don't agree with him, then you can silence anybody that you want to that you disagree with. And big tech should not be doing this. The internet, podcasts, this is a place where people can be themselves and can express their opinions. I'm not saying he's right all the time. I'm not. But he has a right to speak because he's an American. Now, here's the thing. When people start saying, oh, I don't want to listen to that guy, it throws up a red flag to me because he might be saying some things that are true. And if he is, and you're wanting to cancel him because you don't want to hear the truth, that could be a problem. Now, Paul talked about this in 2 Timothy. Yeah, way back when, 1st century. It's amazing how awesome this book is because it deals with problems that we're dealing with today. People are like, well, that book is so antiquated. Really? Just listen to this. Now, Paul is encouraging Timothy to teach the truth. This is what he says. 2 Timothy 4, starting in verse 1. I charge you in the presence of God and of Jesus Christ, who is to judge the living and the dead, and by his appearing in his kingdom, preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. Reprove, rebuke, and exhort with complete patience and teaching. You know how many people leave churches because they've been reproved or rebuked? Because they don't want to do what God wants them to do. They don't want to change. Verse 3. For a time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but have itching ears. They will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions, and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths. As for you, always be sober-minded, endure suffering, do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry. That's exactly what's happening right here. What it said in verse 4, and they will turn away from listening to the truth. People don't want to hear what Joe Rogan's got to say because he's calling out things in our culture. He is showing some things are just backwards. I mean, I want you to think about this for a second. Caitlyn Jenner, I believe the traditional view of marriage, okay? But she's already had the surgery. Okay, what's done is done. I'm not in my opinion, if you've had the surgery, you need to live it out. You need to just live and go from there. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think you should live by your feelings and emotions. I think you really need to get counseling and talk it over. But hey, if you're that committed and you've done it, then I will refer to you as the pronouns you want to be referred to, and we can agree to disagree, and we can live in harmony with one another. But here's the thing. Even Caitlyn Jenner has come out and said that swimmer in Pennsylvania has a very distinct advantage over young ladies who were born female and did not grow up with testosterone flowing through their veins. Okay? I didn't say it. Caitlyn Jenner did. You know, I was warned. See, I used to be on the other side of this discussion. I used to be pro same-sex marriage. And I was warned that people are going to keep pushing the boundaries of marriage. And sure enough, you can look it up for yourself. There's a famous picture of 3 women, and they want to be known as a throuple. I thought this was all about equal rights. You know, 2 people coming together, sharing themselves in an act of love. That's what I thought this was about, but it's not. It's about pushing the boundaries. And I can't agree with that. I promise you this. If I'm ever in a situation where I am called upon to come to a patient's room and minister to them, I'm going to love them because God told me to. I'm supposed to love God with all my heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love my neighbor as myself. Period. My straight neighbor, my gay neighbor, my old neighbor, my young neighbor, my black neighbor, my brown neighbor, my Asian neighbor, my Hispanic neighbor, all of them. Why? Because I love other people because God loves me. And if God's willing to use a knucklehead like me to share the gospel with others, then who am I to judge? But here's the thing. We have a wide variety of opinions when it comes to same-sex marriage, when it comes to transgender issues, when it comes to this critical race theory, which I don't agree with. We should be totally against racism because we're supposed to love our neighbors ourselves, not because we're going to use some critical race theory that's deeply rooted in Marxism. But here's the bigger issue. The moment you start censoring people, the moment you start saying that, well, that person's video shouldn't be on YouTube, and that person's video or that person's podcast shouldn't be on Spotify. Once we start censoring, we are going further and further closer to what Hitler did in Germany. You know, he silenced people that didn't agree with him, and slowly, in the cover of night, took away Jews to the concentration camps. And anybody that tried to rescue those poor Jewish folks also got put away in concentration camps. So, bottom line is, we cannot censor people. We cannot. This whole cancel culture thing needs to go away. This is America. This is the land of free speech. I'm going to hold to the truths of the Bible. I know this is my Kindle Fire, but my main Bible's on here. Next week, promise you, we'll get back to the Gospel of Matthew. Got a brand new commentary I can draw resources from, and I'm super excited. And please pray for me. The weather's supposed to be getting bad when I make my drive down to Conway. And I'm still praying about whether or not I want to pursue another master's degree. I just want to make sure I'm solid in what I believe and why I believe it. Anyway, I love you guys, especially my subscribers. Have a great week. Stay warm.